So my theme is a little bit of foot awareness. So we are going to begin in semi-supine. So settle yourself to the floor. And, because we're thinking about feet, maybe start with your feet and your legs together. As you slide back into your semi-supine position, just notice how that feels. Now, quite honestly, when I first started practicing yoga, we did everything with the legs together. But I wonder if you can sense that as you have the legs together, there is a slight gripping of the lower back to maintain the legs and the feet in this position. So let's compare that to our regular position. So from here, just keep the knees together for a little while longer. Turn the feet out so that the heels are touching and the feet are turned out at 10 to 2. And then once you feel you've got that space in the feet, roll on the balls of the feet until the heels are in line with the balls of the feet and the knees are apart from each other. And then just check out how that feels. Quite often our lower back is kind of the hazard warning area. So it might not be something you're doing to the lower back, but because it's a very vulnerable area, that's where you'll feel, oh, something's not right. So all I'm going to get you to do from here, once you feel that you've kind of evenly taken the weight across the feet, and if you can, kind of try and separate the toes a little bit, I just want you to just move. So don't worry about the breath at the moment, obviously still breathe. Just move on to the balls of the feet. So just send the weight into the balls of the feet and lift the heels. And then change and send the weight into the heels and lift the balls of the feet. So just do a couple of times, just gently rolling from the balls of the feet to the heels and from the heels to the balls of the feet. Now, as you do that, you might just experience a sort of similar sensation to a pelvic tilt. Maybe. Just do that a few times more. And then what we're going to do is kind of sort of imagine we're gradually building up to a bridge position or something that looks like bridge. So the next time you bring the heels down, stay with the heels on the floor, the balls of the feet lifted, and then as you reach into the balls of the feet, see if that allows you to send the knees, the thighs, the shins forward. Lift the heels off the floor at the same time as lifting the back off the floor. Now you don't have to move into a full bridge position, just feel that you're lifting the back, the hips, etc. off the floor. And then roll down upper, middle, lower back at the end of the movement. The lower back comes to the floor, bring the heels down again. And then from there, as you start to feel that you're lifting, send the weight into the balls of the feet, lift the knees, the hips, the thighs, etc., etc. So you're kind of doing a bridge on your tippy toes. And then as you peel down, give yourself space at the end of the release of the spine to release the heels down. Okay, one more time. So bridge on the balls of your feet. And then peel down And at the end of peeling the spine to the floor, feel that you can release the heels. From this position, let's extend our arms into T position and walk the feet as wide as your mat. So you've got your feet round about 10 to 2 position on the floor. Maybe the heels are on the mat, the balls of the feet are off the mat. So we do this a lot. We already know that if we invite the weight into the big toe side of the right foot, the inner spiral, the little toe side of the left foot, that will move the legs to the left. And as we roll back through the feet, the knees will move to the ceiling. And if we change direction, inviting the weight into the big toe side of the left foot, little toe side of the right foot, the knees will be prompted to move to the right. So just take a few more of those positions. And it seems very simple, doesn't it? But really we're using the feet as a driver to move the legs. So take that a couple more times. Trying not to. Now your brain will go, do you know what? If you just move the legs from side to side, you wouldn't have to think about this so much. But try and stop that thought. Try and say, no, I'm still going to use my feet. Even though your body would find a much quicker way to do the movement. Okay, so next set will be the last set in this particular movement for now. And then because the legs are wide, I thought we'd come off the back one of two ways. First way, keep both the knees moving out to the side, slide the feet in towards each other. Well, we could all do that, so the feet are touching. And we also know if we press the feet together, that will bring that lengthening into the body. So if you just play with that a few moments, press the feet in towards each other. And then keep the feet touching but release the pressure, changes the movement of the spine. And then the next time you press the feet together, slide the knees up towards the armpits. You have to release the feet a little bit, but keep the big toes touching. And either stay with that movement or bring the feet into happy baby. So whichever one you feel you're able to take at this very early practice, a very early part of the class. And if you are doing a bit of happy baby, you can always have a little rock from side to side. Now, no matter where you are, I'm going to get you to come into a little seated position. So if you just rock over to one side, nice and comfortably, to bring yourself into sitting. And we're going to just begin with the legs extended, if that's possible. So I've just got my legs out in front. I'm going to give my toes a little wiggle around, because they're important as well. But actually what I want you to do is try and see if we can connect the feet to the hips. So just begin by just taking your feet into they're like windscreen wipers. So I've just supported myself with my fingertips, and I'm just going to move my feet out to the side. Now just notice as you move your feet out to the side, a corresponding action occurs with the inner thighs and the knees. And then bring them back to the centre and then roll the feet in. So the big toes are touching in the midline. So just play with that a little bit. Just let the feet roll from side to side, and then notice how not only the knees are moving, of course they are because they're attached skeletally, but the hips will also start to move. As you get a little bit into the movement, you'll feel the hips start to move. So very simple awareness. That's it. Good. Couple more times. Just loosening up the hips really. And then bend the knees a little bit. So instead of having the whole of the foot to the floor, just have the heels to the floor. Does that make a difference? Now you might feel as you bend the knees a little bit, again, don't want to put words in your mouth, but you might feel there's a little bit of movement from the pelvis. We've always said this in class that if you over lengthen the legs, if you hyperextend the back of the knees, you're not going to be able to move the pelvis very much. So I wonder, and I'm just going to turn to the side to show you, can you, remember if you can't do it, you can always fake it. Can you begin to bring in a little bit of feminine masculine? So feeling that as the legs roll in towards each other, you're slightly rolling back, and as the legs roll out, you're slightly lengthening forward. Interesting, huh? Okay, as always, we need to release from these movements. So just do a couple more. And then from there, bring the feet to the floor. Again, if you can, the whole of the foot to the floor, same as we did lying down. So remember, there's lots of variations of this. We'll start with the first variation. So we'll take the arms out to take the arms in front. We'll exhale, draw the front body to the back body like a masculine. Inhale, take the arms wide, push off of the feet and twist to the left. Now you could use your arms, that's absolutely fine, just to help you. Back to the centre on the inhale. Exhale, angry cat-ish position. Inhale, chest forward. Push off of the feet. You find the exhale will come in because it completes the move. Just do that one more time. So come back to the centre. Exhale. Inhale, chest forward. And then you'll feel the completion of the exhale as you turn. Back to the middle. Exhale. Inhale. One side will always feel a little bit harder than the other side. Okay, this time, for the last set, if you can, now you could stay with the fingers on the floor if you want. Otherwise, draw the front body to the back body. As you twist to the left, and I'm not mirroring you at this moment, can you keep twisting, press into the outside edge of your left foot and lift up. Push off of the floor. So you're starting to move into the hip flexors. Don't worry if that's not possible. Release the bottom back to the floor. Turn back to the middle. Do the same thing, exhale, inhale, lengthen forward. If you can, as you push through the feet, keep pushing into the little toe side of the right foot and see if you can lift up. And then exhale, release back to the centre. Oh, that looked pretty good. Okay, let's do one more set. If it looks good, do it again. Exhale. Inhale. Now try and really use the feet. Push off a big toe of right foot, little toe of left foot, and then really reach down into that outer left foot. Ease back to the centre. And then just do one last time to the right, either just with the twist or adding in that little lift, moving into the hip flexors. And then back to the middle, turn back to the centre. Just let the legs release out in front and give them a little shake out. In fact, just have a little roll from side to side with the feet. Good. Okay. From this position then, let's explore it a little bit more. So I'm just going to swing my legs around because I'm going to ease onto all fours. So with our cat movement, most of the time we do cat with the tops of the feet on the floor. So as you inhale, you're just going to lengthen that chest forward. Now just try pressing down through the top of the foot. And as you exhale, take your angry cat position, letting the head and neck relax. What about the next time you take your angry cat, you tuck the toes under? So that as you inhale, you're pressing through the balls of the feet. Can you get more movement on the chest? As you exhale, how does it feel with the feet tucked under? And there are no rights or wrongs here. It's just different. One more time. And then the next time you exhale, keep the toes tucked under and send your bottom back to the heels. Okay, now it's going to feel a little bit like we're moving into down dog, but just think about those heels. So my bottom is moving towards my heels. What happens if I turn my heels out and then bring them back in? You might feel a bit of a strange thing going on in your ankles, and if that's the case, just be careful with that. But as I bring my heels back to point to the ceiling, I am going to attempt either to stay here, stretching out the fascia of my feet, or if actually being here feels all right, can you take it a little bit deeper and come to sit on your feet? Again, just stay with how it feels. Some people may find this really simple. Other people may be going, that is complete agony, Jules. I'm not going to do that anymore. But remember, if it's complete agony, there is a potential chance that this fascia, this tissue in the ankles and the feet is very tight. Okay, ease out. So what I'd say is if you are feeling it's agony, try and move into it and then come out of it rather than not doing it at all. Okay, from here, I'm just going to undo my feet and give them a little wiggle around. Well, give the toes a little wiggle around. And then I'm going to take the option of coming onto the tops of my feet, drawing my bottom towards my heels, but again, there's a temptation to roll the heels out. It's not wrong. I just wonder how it feels when you do it. And then maybe you can roll back, balance on your fingers and on the fronts of your feet. So you're really stretching out the fronts of the ankles. And again, remember, if it doesn't feel, or if it feels agony, you could do a little rocking movement rather than trying to hold it there. Good. Okay, ease back, slide the hands forward again, extend the arms out so you're into that extended child pose. And then let's move on to our fingers and our toes. So come on to your fingers, come on to your toes. Now you're going to feel a length. So you might feel that when you come onto your toes, you've got, or when you come onto the balls of the feet, you've got to extend the arms a little bit more. So have the head surrendering in between the arms. I love this position. Fantastic movement for the body, for the spine, especially after you've been asleep. So let's take it into a side stretch, walking the fingertips over to the left. Just feeling that side stretch coming out of the right side of the body. Try not to let that right heel go with you. Try and keep that pointing up towards the sit bone. And then move the arms back to the middle and turn the arms over to the right. So you've got that similar stretch through the left side. And then from there, ease back to the middle. Okay, what I'm going to get you to do from here is actually, we'll take a down dog. So we'll tuck the toes under, keep the toes tucked under, take the bottom to the heels. We've got that length in the spine now. So again, we're going to go ball of heel to ball of the foot to the heel of the foot, and you walk in the dog. See what that brings. And then as I bend my knees in my dog pose, I'm just going to take my knees wide like a frog and then bring my legs back towards each other as I lift my sit bone. So I'm going to do that again. Pivot on the balls of the feet a little bit, send the knees out to the side, and then back bottom to the sky, bring the inner thighs in. Okay, the next time I take that movement, knees to the side, I'm actually going to bring my knees down and bring my big toes to touch. So now I'm in a completely different movement with my feet and my legs. So perhaps in this swan-like position, you feel that you've got a lot more movement into the back of the body. Yeah, the back of the body is broadening. Maybe blossoming buttocks. And just stay with that position, that swan-like position for a few moments. And then from there, actually going to take a really wide dog. So I'm just going to get you to move your hands out to the sides of your mat and just take a hold of your mat. So I'm just gently gripping the outsides of my mat. I'm going to keep my knees as wide as the mat, but then move my feet as wide as the mat. And then I'm going to take this kind of like wide dog position. So it's actually another variation of mountain position. Stay with that for a few moments. Now it's going to feel very weird to walk the feet in from this position. So probably bring the legs back to your hip distance and then see if you can walk the feet forward towards the hands. You'll obviously have to release the hands. Feet hip distance apart again. Lovely flat back position. And then see if, keep the knees soft. Have a little release of the head. And then from there, however way it's comfortable for you to come up into standing, I'm going to swing my arms behind me. I'm going to take a lovely extended circle, like a full body stretch almost. And then bring my hands down in front of the heart. So as we come into standing, we've not done this for a while. That thought of just moving your toes around a little bit. So to start with, we're just going to be on the balls of the feet, lift the toes completely. So all toes off the floor. And just notice what that does. You potentially might feel that you're slightly rolling backward. Maybe not. Then I want you to pop your big toes to the floor. So see if you can isolate your big toes and reach the big toe to the floor without the other toes. And again, just check what that does. And again, I can only speak from my own experience. For me, it brings a little bit of tone into the buttocks. So I'm picking them up again. I'm placing my big toes down. I'm having a little feel about how that intersperses in my body. Okay, I'm going to do it one more time. And then I'm going to try the same with the little toe. So I'm going to try and get the little toes down without any other toes. And notice what that does. And then lift out of it again, all toes off the floor, and then bring the little toes down again. Ooh. One more time. And there are no wrong feelings. You know, what you're feeling is what you're feeling. Okay, ease back to the center. Now I want you to try and place the big toes first to the floor, and then the little toes. And then this is where they kind of all go down in a big crowd. But if you can, try and, feel that you can get them down individually. And then very simply, just like we did on the floor, just roll onto the ball of one foot and then change to the other. And, again, something you might do in a general exercise class, a general mobility class, is to just keep that movement going. But I really want you to think about how you put your feet down. Yeah, do you roll the foot in as you put it down? Or do you extend it out behind you? And what about if you lift both feet? Lift both heels and then roll the heels down. How does that work? So we'll do that a couple more times. Again, are you finding the heels slightly move in or slightly move out? Can you level the feet out? Okay, well done. So as you come into standing, and obviously in yoga we call it Tadasana, the full mountain position, just feeling that your feet are parallel, that you've got a little bit of a lift in the instep. And we'll take a little side stretch there just to check that out. So we'll clasp the hands, press the palms forward and reach the arms up to the ceiling. It's always good to have a lovely big stretch in the body. Now, I'm using the stretch through the body because I want you to feel that you're lifting your front thighs and lifting inside of your inner thighs. Breathing in, and as you exhale, take a little side stretch over to, if you go to the left, if you mirror me. And then breathing in, come back to the center, and as you exhale, move over to the right. Good. Okay, breathe in, come back to the center. Just check that out if you've softened the knees a little bit. Now, don't mean necessarily bend them, but just don't hyperextend them. So if I soften the knees a little bit, I've got a little bit more movement into my upper body. And then I'm going to ease back to the middle and take it over. Again, lovely. Good. Okay, I'm breathing, coming back to the center. I'm going to release my arms, release out to the side. And this time, as I roll onto the ball of my left foot, I'm just going to bring my knee up to the chest and give it a little squeeze and just turn the ankle. Both directions. And then I'm going to release that foot as I come down. How do I do it? Do I go ball to heel or heel to ball? Again, don't worry, I'm just interested. So change sides. And turn in the opposite direction. Good. And then as I lower down, if I went ball to heel on the first side, how does it feel on this side to go heel to ball? Ooh, really strange. Okay, what I'm going to get you to do is step the feet wide. So with the legs wide, the feet take on a different challenge. So in this particular sequence, we are moving the feet around, and you'll know it, it's called Golden Seed. So we have the feet parallel. We also turn the heels in. That changes the movement into the pelvis. And we also take the feet so they're both moving in the same direction, which is known as elephant. So let's go with that. From this wide leg, standing position, feet parallel. Breathe in. Take the arms up overhead. Have a little hold of the elbow just to really stretch out. And as you exhale, take the arms wide. And then you're going to bring the heels in. And it's going to bring you into a lovely goddess. So you're going to breathe in, take the arms up. And as you exhale, take down. So again, feel that you're moving these thighs out, that you're not bringing the inner thighs in. So you've got to use the feet the little toe sides of the feet. That's it. Good. Okay, the next time you take your bent knee position, you're going to turn the heels out and you're going to hinge forward. So as you hinge forward, I'm going to get you to place your right hand to the floor and turn both feet to the right. From this position, I want you to see if you can move from your right side waist and open your rotation to the left. And then change the hands, take the left hand down and still rotate to the right. Okay, from here, bring the feet back to parallel. Gather the energy, draw it to the heart, clasp the hands, press the palms up to the ceiling. Feet parallel. So this is going to be drinking bird. So you're going to fold forward, take the arms out behind you, let that head and neck relax. And then as you slide the heels in, you're going to take rocking horse. So you're in 10 to 2. That's it. Okay, take that again. Drinking bird, feet parallel. Heels turn in, rocking horse. Okay, one more time. Drinking bird, feet parallel. Heels turn in, rocking horse. Okay, we're going to stay in this little horse position for a little while. So just release the arms. Now wonder, can you in this position lift up onto the ball of one foot and lower, and then the other one? Oh. So just like you can sort of climbing the legs further out to the side. And then can you do both? Can you balance on the balls of the feet and then lower down to the heels? Much more difficult to lift the fronts of the feet here. So go back onto the balls of the feet and then roll the heels back down. Good. Inhale, take the legs to parallel. Breathing in, gather, take a hold of the elbows. Good. This time, exhale, hinge forward in this position. Slide the fingertips to the floor and take the feet, both feet pointing to the left this time. Left hand down or left fingertips down. Keep reaching into the feet, but use that left hip to turn you to the right. And then release, change the hands and turn to the left. Good. Turn back to the center. Bring the feet to parallel. Gather the energy. Lift it to the heart. Press the palms up towards the sky. And then we'll take those 3 drinking birds, feet parallel. Rocking horse. Feet turn down, 10 to 2. Lovely job. Okay, 2 more. Drinking bird. That's it. Rocking horse. Now really think about those feet. Drinking bird. Rocking horse. Woohoo! Okay, so instead of, we already know we can do this little walk. From here, we're going to add in both of those things for our standing posture. So I'm going to get you, instead of turning both feet, well, in fact, you could turn both feet to the right. So it could end up like this. But actually, we want to end up in warrior 2. So I want you to turn your left toes in and your right toes turned out in line with your knee. And so the right foot is opposite the left instep or the left heel. So the same thing can happen here. How can we play around with the feet to make a difference to something as simple, I was going to say basic, but it's really not basic, but it's, you know, prime yoga territory. So let's think about warrior 2. So In Warrior Two, how does it feel to lift onto the ball of your right foot? Might get a little bit of cramp in the calf there. And then as you bring the right heel down, what about lifting onto the heel? Now, interestingly, as you lift onto the heel, you might feel that you lengthen the right leg. So let's do that. Let's roll onto the ball of the right foot and increase the lunge. Roll onto the heel and increase the length. Interesting. Okay, do that one more time. Okay, next time you do it, add in the arm. So as you roll onto the ball of the right foot, bring yourself into a side angle position. So bring your right forearm onto the right thigh. I'm not too bothered about your left arm at the moment. And then as you roll onto the heel, take that into a kind of reverse warrior position. It's almost like a reverse Trikonasana. So both legs are straight. Okay, bend in, ball of the foot. If you feel you want to bring your left arm into the play, absolutely fine. Roll on to right heel, lengthen back, lovely. And feel that space you're creating in the side waist. Okay, last one. That's it. I'm on the ball of my right foot, heels lifted. Now this time, as I come onto the heel, I take that reverse move. I'm going to create as much space as I can on the right side. And then I'm going to roll down through my right foot. And almost immediately, I kind of want to do Trikonasana. Again, I'm not going to get you to spend loads of time with it. Just do a very gentle Trikonasana. Just find where it takes you. And then breathing in, slide back to the center, turn the feet back to parallel. Good. Okay. From the parallel feet, we'll take a drinking bird, a forward fold. And then we'll take a rocking horse and just see if the right leg feels any different to the left. Okay, arms wide, we're going to change sides. So we're going to take both feet to the left and then kind of readjust them a little bit so we can come into our Warrior Two. Good. Okay, so we're just having this little play around with the feet. So let's just go onto the ball of the left foot and then onto the heel. With this sense of moving from a bent leg to a straight leg, just by moving the foot. Okay, bring it in. Okay, I always found that for me it's easier to do the reverse position first. So roll onto the heel, bring the left arm alongside of the ear, roll through the ball, maybe take side angle. You don't have to use the right arm if you don't want to. So it's just like a flowing movement, rolling through from heel to ball of foot. You're doing great. Okay, this is the last one. And then this time, as you roll onto the heel and lift the ball of the foot, you're in that kind of reverse warrior position. And then just keep the legs where they are, but lower the ball of the foot down. And it's almost like, oh yeah, that kind of prompts me to want to take Trikonasana position. I say we're not staying in it. We're just moving through it. Breathing in, come back to the center. Just finish off this little standing sequence by taking a drinking bird and a rocking horse. And just see, does it feel a little bit, I'm not going to say comfier, but you might feel that you're a little bit more bouncy in your pelvis. Okay, well done. From there, reach the arms out, take a sailor Sam, come back to the center, back where we started, in Tadasana. That little bit of length, that lift, that sense. And what about lifting the toes off the floor? What does that do? And then easing the toes back down. So I'm just going to turn around to face the short edge of my mat, because we're going to step back into some lunges here. If you have a block or a brick available, that's going to help. If you haven't got one, a cushion would help. Anything that gives you a little bit of height. So what I'm going to do initially, brick's quite high, so if you're using a brick, just be careful. In fact, you might be better rolling your mat up rather than using a brick, actually, on second thoughts. So you could roll your mat up, or you could use a block, or anything that takes you a little bit higher. Because what we're going to do is we're going to bring the balls of the feet to the floor and the heels either onto your rolled up mat, rolled up blanket or cushion or block, so that your heels are lifted and supported. That's essentially where I need it to be. Yeah. So it's a bit like wearing high heels. So you're going to feel that the fronts of the quads are very long, and that's great. From this position, we're just going to try and stretch out the back of the calves. The back of the calves, connecting to the back of the ankles, connecting to the lumbar spine. Remember, this is the hazard warning light of your body. So I'm going to bend into my left knee. In fact, I bend into both knees a little bit. And then I'm going to take the ball of my right foot to the back of my block, or to the back of my rolled up mat or towel or blanket, and then keeping the left knee bent, I'm going to just gently peel that right heel to the floor. Now, I know you probably won't want to look at it too much, but just check that your heel is moving in line with the toes, because it may well have rolled in or rolled out to the side. And you're going to feel a very, very extended stretch. Yeah, you might have to have a little bit of something to balance on. If it feels like it's too much, you know, you can always slide something underneath that right heel. If it's too much to lower the heel all the way down, just slide a support underneath it, or make your block or support smaller. That's it. Okay, now you can either stay here. If you've got here and you're thinking, right, I'm balanced, that's enough. Or if you want to add in a little bit, you could take your left foot and cross it over the right toes. That's it. So it's like a little bit of eagle type movement. Again, that's just an add-on. That's it. Lovely. Okay, release out. Bring the balls of both feet to the mat and the heels higher than the balls of the feet. Again, you've got that little bit of change. Now, think about this hazard warning area, this lower back. Is it feeling any different from side to side? Might feel a bit released, I'm hoping. Okay, change sides. So remember, if you need to hold on to something, that's fine. Bend into your right knee. Slowly see if you can extend your left heel to the floor. And again, just check that the heel is moving in line with the balls or the toes. Balls of the feet or toes. Again, if you need something to balance on, it's absolutely fine. Lengthening, just letting that extension reach through the leg. Lovely job. Use your arms if you need to balance a little bit. Notice if this side feels different. Possible it will do. Brilliant. Ooh, I can feel that in my calf. And then if you want to add in, remember you can take your right foot, cross the right foot over the left leg. Well done. Excellent. Okay, from there, slowly ease out. Both feet, balls of the feet to the floor, heels onto the support, and then just step off the support. Again, just check out how that hazard warning system's working, if anything. And then we'll just pop that out of the way for now. And just to take us back into down dog, we'll just go through the start of sun salute. So soften into the knees a little bit. Remember, you've got more movement on the pelvis with the knees soft. Breathe in, swoop the arms up to the side, gaze up to the thumbs. As you exhale, clasp the hands behind the back and then hinge forward. And again, up to you, keep the knees bent or soften the knees a little bit. Depends if you want more stretch in the shoulders and the upper body. And then bend deeper into the knees, slide the fingertips to the floor and step your right leg back. So you're in that lunge. Now what you might not notice, but what will have happened is because you've brought some release to the back, is that your bottom will be quite high. So you're not lunging like this, you're not dropping those hips, you're quite buoyant. And if you can, fingertips on the floor, how does it feel to lift the heel of the left foot? And how does it feel to lift the ball of the left foot? Oh, so it might help, and you might even think, oh, that's a bit odd, but if you roll again from the ball of the foot to the heel, that's it. And then from there, come onto the whole of the left foot and then step back into down dog and compare the two sides. Good. Okay, let's try the other side. So walk the feet forward towards the hands. This time, step the left foot back. So you're into that nice buoyant lunge. And then from there, you're going to do exactly the same thing. Invite the weight into the ball of the right foot. And then into the heel of the right foot. Yeah, just a couple of times. And then from there, step that into down dog. It should feel that you've got a little bit of release through the backs of the legs. Again, I'd still have a little bit of bend into the knees just for now. And then from here, we'll swivel. So we're going to bend the knees even more. We're going to swivel on the balls of the feet so that the knees and the feet, because the knees will follow the feet, go to the left and the bottom goes to the right. And then we'll swivel back. Do a couple of swivels to each side. Now, I don't really mind which side you come down onto. Whatever side is comfortable, just come down onto your side and then swing the legs around so you're back onto all fours. As always, time beats me, but just out of interest, now we've got a bit of movement here in our cat position. Can you imagine that you're rolling the thighs out? I'm going to turn my bottom to you. I hope you're not offended. So if I roll my thighs out, what happens with my back? If I roll my thighs in, oh, can we feel that there's a kind of move into feminine? And, you know, if you roll your thighs out, it might be that your big toes come together. And if you roll your thighs in, maybe your feet will go wider. I'm just getting you to explore these movements. Now, the body is not linear in any way. We think it is because we can only assume what we see with everything covered in skin. Okay, next time you roll the thighs out and actually I want you to bring the big toes together and then sink the bottom back to the heel. So we're back into that extended frog-like position. Now again, if you've got a block, please feel free to use that. If you haven't got a block, a cushion would be absolutely fine. So grab a cushion. Just want a little bit of support for your head. So we're going to do a position here called twisted frog. But you just need something to put your head on. So I have the hands in front. You're going to take your left arm out to the side. As you exhale, you're going to slide that left arm behind the right or underneath the right armpit. Bring your cushion or block in and just release the left side of the head onto that support. Actually, you could use a brick for this, so that would also be fine. Again, just noticing all this effect through the sacrum, through your lumbar spine. Take a couple of breaths there. Okay, after the next exhale, we're going to slide the right hand back and lift the left arm up to the side and then change to the left. Sorry, change to the right. So same thing, you know what I mean. You just go into the other side, threading the right arm under the left armpit. Feeling that stretch through those inner legs. Now you might think, it's not really relating to the feet, but it is relating to the inner thighs. Okay, couple more breaths. And then inhale, ease back to the center. Move that support away. So from here, we'll take that into a downward dog. Now in downward dog, if you move your knees out to the side and lift the bottom back up, you may feel that you move deeper into your down dog. But from down dog, I want you to come into plank. And this is where it could be potentially dangerous to always have the heels moving out to the side. So just explore, just be in your plank position. And then just, if you take your heels out to the side, notice what happens to the body. It sinks down. If you bring your heels to point to the ceiling, you've got that lift. Okay, I don't want you to do it too much. Some people do it all the time. Not good for the lower back. But then from there, drop the knees to the floor. Slide the bottom back to the heels. Just have a little stretch up the lower back. And then from here, swing the legs out in front. And we're kind of sort of cooling down to finish this way that we started. So if you come into sitting with the legs out in front of you, just fingertips to the side. I wonder now if you move your feet like windscreen wipers, are you already feeling a much more chain reaction response into the thighs, maybe even into the hips? And then bend the knees a little bit and see if you got that response into a little bit of pelvic tilt. So it might be a bit freer, a bit softer. Good. Okay, ease the legs back to the centre. Pop on your warm clothes. Going to ease ourselves down into a little bit of relaxation. So start in semi-supine as always, because you want to allow your lumbar spine, and this, remember I said, hazard warning lights, allow the lumbar spine to be able to melt to the floor. Now, if you always did a semi-supine with your feet turned out, it would change the position of the lumbar spine. If you always did a semi-supine, and we do it sometimes with the toes turned in and the knees pointing towards each other, again, it's a different position. So I just want you to move between those two. So it's up to you whether you want to just turn the feet out and let the knees roll out, or if you want to come into Supta Baddha Konasana. And then change that to the internal rotation of the feet and just notice what that does. And it might be that you don't take Shavasana this morning, but what I'd like to do, because for me, I find it, for my body, I find it much more comfortable to move into Shavasana from the knees turning out. I find that works for my back. But you might find that it's more comfortable to move in to Shavasana from the knees turning in or the feet turning out. So I want you to experiment and discover for yourself which part of that movement releases into your lumbar spine to potentially allow you to take Shavasana. Now, if you choose not to take Shavasana, that's absolutely fine by me, but semi-supine, feet parallel if you don't. Of course, in Shavasana, your feet will naturally roll out to the side, which is really interesting. But you can bring your feet to the ceiling. You know, that might change the position in your lower back. Again, there is no prescribed movement here. This is about where can you place your feet, where is it lengthening for you to allow that lower back, that potential hazard area, to be able to release. Well, I've said it many times before, but very often this position, this 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, whatever it is, at the end of your physical practice is a phase of digestion. Just feel that you and your body are digesting the movements, the complex connections within the body. And this sense of linking to them. Now, from your short period of digestion, if you are in Shavasana, I want you to bring your feet back to semi-supine, feet parallel. Once you've got that connection through the whole of the feet, then maybe have a little rotation of the head from side to side. Using the feet as your stability, your connection to the earth. And as the head comes back to center, just extend the arms away above the head. And then one at a time, slide the knees into the chest so that you end up with both knees in at the chest. Bring the arms around and just hold outside of the shins. So that Apanasana position. Just checking into that hazard area. Feeling free to rock from side to side or draw circles in the air with the knees. And then eventually just roll on to the right side. Into the fetal position. And then slowly ease yourself into sitting. Excellent. Breathing in. Gather the energy around you. Gaze up to the thumbs. And as you exhale, just seal that practice through the third eye to the lips and the throat and to the heart. Namaste.